live from the energy capital of the nation. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.
Good morning. Well, that was a little loud. Good morning. Happy Halloween. Well, I got to warn you today, things might not sound exactly right. There was some work done in the studio here at some point yesterday, and my board and computer are all messed up. Worse than usual. So if I sound a little off today, you'll have to excuse me. Well, let's see. At least it sounds weird in my headphones. I don't know if it sounds all right going out over the air or not. But we'll push through it. And of course it is Halloween. So I got a little something lined up here, and we'll see if anybody actually remembers this one. Maybe, maybe not.
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock.
Now, I'm probably the only person in the world that actually remembers that one. It was a horrible, horrible Halloween movie back in the mid 80s. I think it was Halloween 3, I think it was. Well, I don't know. Every Halloween that comes around, I always think of that stupid song. It gets stuck in my head every single time. I mean, for some people it might be the Monster Mash or something like that, but for some reason it's that stupid movie. I don't even remember what the movie was about, other than these little kids would put on these Halloween masks that had some kind of computer chip in them, and the TV show that they were watching had some kind of subliminal message that turned them all into monsters. It was terrible. So if you were listening to Fox News at the top of the hour, they kind of stole my thunder, but I wanted to talk about a story that it broke yesterday, but I wanted to save it for today since today is Halloween. And this woman in Fargo, decides that she's going to be the obesity police, I guess. So imagine going trick-or-treating for candy this Halloween and getting a critical letter in your candy bag. That's what may be happening to some kids in North Dakota this year. One woman called into the Y94 radio station in Fargo this week to say that she doesn't plan to give Halloween candy to all of the children who come to her door. And so when I saw radio station Y94, that set off a big red flag. But even if this is a hoax, it is a kind of a good story to talk about, to talk about the obesity police and people being too nosy. So even if it is a hoax, we'll just pretend that it's real. And it could very well be real. But here, this woman says she plans on giving a sealed letter to any overweight children who visit her, which the children are then supposed to give to their parents. In the letter, the woman plans to tell the parents that they are acting irresponsibly by sending their children out to seek candy when they are already overweight. So here's what the letter says. It says, your child is, in my opinion, moderately obese and should not be consuming sugar and treats to the extent of some children this Halloween season. My hope is that you will step up as a parent and ration candy this Halloween and not allow your child to continue these unhealthy eating habits. When asked by the host of the show why she doesn't give out toys or stickers instead of candy, the woman, who identified herself as Cheryl, said she doesn't want to be the mean lady of the neighborhood. You don't think the kids are going to find out in these letters? The woman also said she doesn't plan to deny candy to any of the children who visit her house. So I guess if they ask nicely, she'll still give them candy. Here's her quote. Really, I just want to send a message to the parents of kids who are really overweight. It's just these kids, I can see them and they're struggling to stay healthy and they want to play with the other kids. And I think it's really irresponsible for parents to send them out looking for free candy just because the other kids are doing it. One of the radio hosts who conducted the interview said they planned to follow up with the woman to see if she carried out her plans. The whole thing just does scream hoax. It does scream hoax to me, but what we're going to do is we're just going to go with it just as if it were real, because it does speak to a larger issue. And that issue is people being too nosy these days and trying to police other people's kids. So, it really is a good opportunity to talk about these things, as well as talk about childhood obesity. I mean, I have my own theories on why that is, and it really doesn't have anything to do with candy. Children have always eaten candy. And, maybe we can, brainstorm and maybe find some ways to maybe encourage these kids to be a little bit more healthy without, sending letters home with them on Halloween. I mean, really. It's almost like the old Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown cartoon where Charlie Brown just kept getting rocks. I got a rock. There's got to be a better way to do this. So how about this? We'll take a break. By the time we come back, Chad should be in, so maybe we'll talk about the World Series for a few minutes. But after the bottom of the hour, I do have some audio from Fox News talking about this story. This woman from Fargo, she's going to give away mean letters to children, telling them that they're too fat to have candy. News Talk 1270 KIML. We'll be right back.
From Washington to Cheyenne to right here in Gillette, Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Join the First United Methodist Church in celebrating a pumpkin patch and harvest bazaar at 2000 West Lakeway in Gillette. Last day. Today's the last day. If you need some pumpkins, here's where you need to go. They'll have a field of pumpkins and gourds available for purchase. All proceeds raised go towards various church and outreach programs. You can call the church office for details, 686-7339. And the Bethlehem Lutheran Church will be holding a Harvest Festival this Saturday, November 2nd in Moorcroft from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. The festival has vendors, handmade and seasonal crafts, yummy homemade baked goods, and a $3 lunch of warm harvest chili, drink, and dessert served from 11 to 3. Everyone's invited to the Harvest Festival in Moorcroft this Saturday, November 2nd, from 8 to 3. And Chad should be in just a minute. So we're going to hold off on the talk of the woman in Fargo that's going to give obese children nasty little letters to take home to their parents. I still think the whole thing is a little bit of a radio hoax, but it does speak to a larger issue. So we'll do that after the bottom of the hour. And I also want to remind you that starting tomorrow, Basin Radio will be doing our first annual No Shave November event. $20 donation. It goes towards St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. It's a great cause. All you have to do is take a picture at the beginning of the month with a date stamp on it. Take a picture at the end of the month with a date stamp on it. Don't shave in the meantime. And you can email it to noshavenovember@basinsradio.com. And we'll be having the Beard Bash at Boot Hill Steakhouse and Nightclub on December 6th. I know yesterday I screwed up and said November, but it's December 6th. at Boot Hill Steakhouse and Nightclub. They're one of the supporters, also Main Elements and Pokey's Barbecue and Smokehouse. Oh, and Club Energize. Okay, I guess they added that one. So yeah, make sure you don't shave. I mean, you're not going to shave anyway. I mean, it's going to get cold. You need to grow a beard.
So is today the last day you're shaving?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to shave. I'm going to shave in the morning when I get up, and tomorrow, and then I'll just let it go for a month.
Really?
I'll probably let it go all winter, to tell you the truth.
How long does it get?
Not very. Because my beard gets all weird, so I have to trim it a lot. I can't grow a long beard. I have to keep it really, really short.
Yeah, you can't do that though.
Well, I'm not competing for any kind of prizes. We can't win the prizes. Since we work here, we can't win. That wouldn't be fair, would it?
So I'm technically in the contest right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't shave today, so I did shave yesterday, but it'll be interesting to see how gray my beard is because I grew one last winter and it was about half, so I think it's about 3/4 gray this year.
Huh.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
What about your little neck area? You can shave that area?
Yeah, I have to do that.
You can't do that either.
Well, again, I can break the rules because I'm not trying to win anything. I'm not even going to take pictures. I'm just doing it to, for moral support.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I gotta do some moral support stuff. I might let the neck go for a month, but as soon as it's over, I gotta trim it.
Yeah, I can't do that.
And of course I gotta shave my head too, because I don't want to look like Hulk Hogan by the end of the thing. I can't do that. So, but the beard, I mean, it does actually help keep things warm a little bit.
You're not gonna let the head go at all?
No, I can't. I mean, I can maybe do 2 or 3 days at the most, and by then it's just, well, for one thing, it just starts to bother me.
You take a Bic razor to that?
Oh yeah, I use the
Mach 3, Mach 5.
The one with 4 blades. I guess it's
Mach 4.
Quattro. I think Schick Quattro.
Oh, gotcha.
I think that's the one I use.
Okay.
I don't know. I know it has 4 blades. That's all.
How often do you have to run it under the sink?
Oh, a lot. I actually do it in the shower. I don't have to.
Oh, you do?
I don't even have to look in the mirror. I've got to the point where I can do it without.
You just know what you're doing. Do you ever miss any spots?
Once in a while, I might miss a spot, but I've never cut myself.
Oh wow!
So I guess I've done all right with that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do it, without. I could do it with my eyes closed if I had to.
Have you ever cut yourself shaving your face?
I'm trying to think. Maybe when I was younger, I did.
Oh, really?
Using a dull razor before somebody taught me that I need to use sharp razors.
Oh, I've gashed myself big time.
Oh, well, actually, I might have with maybe get a mosquito bite or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that,
it doesn't take a mosquito bite for me to come away with a big streaming creek of blood running down my face.
Well, see, some people can do that. I mean, some people, they just is just a little tiny nick and it just bleeds.
Yeah.
I guess you're not like hemophiliac or anything like that, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so it does heal. It just bleeds a lot.
It's stopped bleeding since.
Well, I know, like if you cut yourself in your head, I mean, I know people that shave their head and every once in a while they'll cut it and it bleeds like crazy. I mean, that's why professional wrestlers, they take the little razor blades and they cut their forehead. That's how they bleed when they hit each other with chairs and stuff. The guy will hide his face and he has a little piece of razor blade taped up in his finger and he just goes like this and just a little tiny cut and it bleeds like crazy.
Oh, wow.
And that's, it gives the desired effect. I mean, maybe they'll take a little shot of whiskey or something to thin their blood before the match. But, I've never had a problem with it. So it's one of the, I've cut myself in many other ways, but never with a razor. I mean, I've put a knife through my hand and.
Have you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can see where it went in, on my, trying to, stab frozen hamburgers apart. With a butcher knife,
and it went right through your hand. Huh?
It cut the tendon. I couldn't move. I couldn't move my finger for like 6 months. No,
you didn't go to the hospital.
No, it barely bled. It healed on its own. So, yeah, I was maybe 20 years old. So I was young and dumb.
You were indestructible.
Well, I thought I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, But I mean, I'd make a fist and my finger would be sticking out because I couldn't move it for at least 6 months.
Huh.
So that's pretty much the extent of my major injuries anyway.
Okay.
So what do we have going on in sports?
We got a little volleyball coming up today. Wright and Gillette both in the state tournament, and there was a decisive World Series game last night.
Yeah, pretty big story. Although, I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, finally the Red Sox won." They won the World Series 9 years ago.
They've won it twice in the last 10 years.
Yeah, because they won it
in 07 over the Rockies.
07, that's right. It's been a while since they've won it at home, but
yeah, since 1918.
You think about it, your football team never wins the Super Bowl at home, so it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, that's true.
Enough of the Red Sox being an underdog team.
They're not an underdog team.
They're a powerhouse.
I guess they were an underdog team because they were last year.
Well, yeah. I think Boston has this inferiority complex too. They think they're an underdog in all sports. They think they're underdogs,
Yeah.
and every one of their
title town.
Yeah, every one of their sports teams has won titles.
The Celtics are littered with championship banners.
And they've won one recently.
Patriots have won 3.
Yeah, the Bruins won the Stanley Cup a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, every team in Boston wins, and they think that they're, I guess maybe because they're so close to New York, they think, the Yankees and the Giants and all this stuff, but they win more titles than New York does. Think about it. Every one of their teams it's maybe they'll finally get over their inferiority.
Yeah,
complex.
let's hope so.
I doubt it, though. Okay, we'll see you in about an hour.
All right.
News Talk 1270 KIML.
Have an event you'd like to promote on the show? Email Don at doncarpenter@basonsradio.com.
News Talk 1270 KIML. Don Carpenter Show. I might have to put this one in my regular bumper rotation. This is good year round. And welcome back to the program. Happy Halloween. So let's get into this story. This woman in Fargo, if you believe it's true, and just for the sake of argument, we're going to say it's not a radio hoax, which it probably is, but that's all right. A woman in Fargo says that she's not going to give obese children candy for Halloween. She's going to give them a sealed letter that they're supposed to take to their parents, and the letter just says, "Hey, I didn't give your kids candy because they're fat." And this isn't the way to handle it. I mean, if you want to, and nobody wants our kids to be fat, but Halloween is just not the day to do this. If you really want to do something, start some kind of outdoor activities for these kids, because they're not fat because they're eating Halloween candy year round. They're fat because they're sitting inside watching TV and playing video games all day. They don't play outside anymore. That's why they're fat. So here's a clip from Fox News from last night.
Some kids may be getting more than trick or treat this Halloween. A mother from North Dakota is capturing national attention now for her plan to give letters in addition to candy to overweight trick or treaters. The letter to parents states, "Your child is, in my opinion, moderately obese and should not be consuming sugar and treats to the extent of some children this Halloween season. My hope is that you will step up as a parent and ration candy this Halloween and not allow your child to continue these unhealthy eating habits." The woman.
And again, I do appreciate that, she thinks she's trying to be helpful, we'll just say. And maybe she is legitimately concerned about these kids. But it's none of her business. If she doesn't want to give out candy, she can just not give out candy. I mean, I know where I lived before, I didn't like giving out candy because it would always be kids from other areas coming in, and they would get all the candy before the local kids could get it. So I mean, for a couple years there, I didn't give out candy at all. I just went out for dinner on Halloween night because I just couldn't stand it anymore, seeing kids from other neighborhoods coming in, and they'd show up early so they could get all the candy, and then they'd go back to their neighborhood and double trick or treat. And I didn't like that. So what I would do is I would just not give out candy to anybody. And, my kid's grown now, so it's not like I have to take any kids trick or treating. So I didn't do it. Of course, this year I'm going to do it because, I live pretty close to town. I live in a pretty nice neighborhood, big neighborhood. There's probably a lot of kids that want candy. So this year I'm going to give out candy for the first time in probably 2 or 3 years. Well, actually, I don't even think I think I was actually on the road last year. I wasn't even at home. I was working last Halloween. So, in that case, it's probably has been 2 or 3 years since I've given out candy. So it'll be the first time this year. So, if you recognize me when you bring your kids by, say hi. With that, we're going to take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about this woman that wants to give nasty little letters to children who she thinks aren't deserving of candy because they're fat. News Talk 1270, KIML. We'll be right back.
If it's happening in Wyoming, he's talking about it. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270, KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. And that doesn't really make very good bumper music. It's not a bad music bed, though. Okay, we'll just pot that one down. They can't all be hits. So, if you're just joining us, we're talking about this woman in Fargo. She's been in the news the last couple days. I've decided to save it for today since today is Halloween. She says that she's not going to give candy to the overweight kids that come to her door tonight. Instead, she's going to give them a little letter saying that, it's a sealed letter that they're supposed to give to their parents. Of course, the kids are going to open these letters and they're going to see this woman saying, hey, your kid's fat. I'm not going to give him candy and neither should you. Just being a nosy Nelly. Halloween's supposed to be fun. I don't understand the mentality of people like this. And we only have a couple minutes left in the hour, but we'll listen to a little bit more of this audio.
And speaking to a North Dakota radio station.
I feel like I'm contributing to their health problem, and really, their kids are everybody's kids. It's a whole village, and frankly, we've got a problem where these kids are getting obese, and they're potentially looking at diabetes and just all kinds of health problems, and really, the whole community is going to be paying for it.
Now, she's absolutely right about that. She's absolutely right about that. There's way too many kids that are obese these days. Way too many adults that are obese. But what's she doing the rest of the year? That's what I want to know. What is this woman doing the rest of the year to help these kids out? Not giving them a little fun-sized Snickers bar isn't going to help them. One day a year, not giving them a little piece of candy, it doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. So I'm not sure exactly what she thinks she's going to be doing other than making these kids feel bad. And, I'm not one of these people that go around and say, oh, we should never make kids feel bad. But it's not her job. It's the parents' job to keep an eye on these kids. And with that, we're out of time for the hour. What we're going to do is we'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about this. We won't spend a whole lot of time on it. I know I do want to get to the Obamacare stuff as well. I actually have a new song parody as well. Yeah, well, I think we have time for one call. We only have about a minute though. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Hey, if I want to raise fat kids, I'll raise fat kids.
That's the point. I mean, it's your job to keep your kids from getting fat, not this woman, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It ain't no different than, raising my kids to hunt or not to hunt. I mean, it's nobody's decision but mine, not hers.
Amen. Thanks a lot for the call. I couldn't have put it better myself. I mean, enough of getting in everybody else's business. News Talk 1270 KIML. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from two tall towers in the middle of a big field. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.
Scary monsters, super great.
News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. Happy Halloween. And welcome back to the program. If you're just joining us, we're talking about this story. It surfaced yesterday, and I thought about doing it on the show yesterday, but I figured it would be better suited for Halloween. And plus, I got some audio now, so that always helps. A woman in Fargo, North Dakota, has decided she's not going to give candy to what she considers moderately obese kids. What she's going to do is she gives them a letter. They take the letter home to their parents, which basically tells the parents that you need to stop feeding your kid candy. And what I've been saying is that it's not the candy that's the problem with these kids. They're not getting physical activity anymore. And we had a caller before the top of the hour. He put it so well. He said, if I want to raise fat kids, that's my business. And then he said it's just a decision like wanting to let your kids hunt. And I thought about it during the break. If more of these kids actually got out and went deer hunting or even small game or something like that, they'd be getting exercise and they wouldn't be fat. So there you go. That's a good way to do it. You just take your kids hunting and they'll be in a little bit better shape. Let's take a call. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Hi. I have a comment about the lady in North Dakota.
Sure, what's up?
She needs to mind her own business, and I think it's ridiculous that she'd do that to a kid. They're out to have fun, and she's just trying to put a wet blanket on their night. Halloween's my favorite time of the year, and if I was a little kid and she gave me that, I'd egg her house.
Yeah, that's it. There would be toilet paper in the tree. I kind of have a feeling. If this actually happens, she's going to have all kinds of toilet paper in her trees in the morning.
Man, I would put dog poop in a bag, set it on fire, and put it on her front step. She is not a nice lady. Let the kids have some fun. They don't get much fun anymore.
Well, and not to mention they're out walking around. They're getting exercise. I mean,
yes,
that's probably the only exercise a lot of these kids are going to get this week.
Yeah, you always got somebody preaching at them all the time. Do this, do that. Let the kids have some fun.
Yeah.
Let them have some fun. And this lady's totally out of line, and I just wish I knew who she was. I'd go put the toilet paper in her tree myself.
Well, Cheryl from West Fargo, that's all we know.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't have time for that, but I would if I had some time.
Don't worry. I think the kids are going to take care of it for you.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks a lot. I mean, there you go. I mean, we just need to stay out of other people's business. I think, and that's why I wanted to talk about this story. I mean, I have my doubts because the radio station originally broke the story. So I kind of had my doubts whether it's real or not. If it is real, even if it's not, there's somebody somewhere doing something similar tonight. Even if it's just giving the kids, crummy little stickers, give them some candy. Kids aren't allowed to have fun anymore. Give them some candy. I mean, we're smothering our kids and we're sticking our noses in everybody else's business. And I think that's half of what's wrong with this country. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Well, Don, I'm going to take a different approach.
Okay.
I agree that she could pass out something else besides candy and da-da-da-da. But on the flip side, when this kid grows up to be a fat, obese slob, dependent on the medical system, dependent on our healthcare system, don't ask for me to pay the bill.
Well, that would be a good. Now, I mean, this woman has a good point. She's saying that these kids, would be a strain on the system. I understand that point, but what is she doing the other 364 days of the year?
Well, and she could do something a little different, like hand out, treats or toy or something besides candy.
Oh yeah.
But somebody's got to start standing up and making a point in this country, and I kind of appreciate what she's doing. Yeah. There's a bunch of fat little slobby kids running around. All of them are on a system, but more of them are getting on a system, and everybody's asking for somebody else to pay for their bad decisions.
Oh, well, now that's a different point. And, there's absolutely some merit to that point that, let's face it, there's a lot of adults that are overweight, too. And,
absolutely.
And people just don't get enough exercise anymore. I think that's what the problem is.
Yep.
And that and the corn syrup that they put in everything. I mean, that can't be good for you.
No.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah. The only problem I have with it is she's probably not doing anything the other days of the year. If she really wants to make a difference, get out there and have. I'm sure she has kids of her own. Get out there and have the kids. Have them, start a baseball league or do something where they get some activity. News Talk 1270 KIML, you're on the air.
Good morning, Don. This is Beth.
Good morning, Beth.
Well, this is what I'm doing for Halloween. We have candy, and we always have the best candy on the block. But we also I found these little 8-packs of crayons for 10 cents each. So I bought 40 of those. I give the kids a choice. You want candy? You want crayons?
See, now that's a creative way to do it. Give the kids a choice, and to be honest, I bet the crayons don't last as long as the candy because they will last longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The crayons are going to last a long time. I was just going to give away crayons, but then I thought, no, I would be disappointed if I was like, I don't know, 10. And got crayons instead of candy.
Now, I think the crayons will go faster than you think, though. A lot of kids will take those. They're getting all kinds of candy, and the crayons will. You can use those for a lot longer than you'll have that candy. So I wouldn't be surprised if some kids take it.
I'm gonna do a study.
Yeah, there we go.
See what people do. I'll report back in tomorrow.
Hey, okay. Well, there you go. We'll be waiting for your call.
Have a good day.
Hey, thanks a lot. Yeah, see, if you give the kids a choice, that's I have no problem. I wouldn't even have problem if she just gave out crayons. This woman in Fargo. I wouldn't have a problem with that. My problem is that she's trying to lecture parents. And I get the point. I do get the point that these kids are a strain on the system if they grow up to be fat slobs. I do get that point. Why today? Why not tomorrow or yesterday or some other day? Why on Halloween? News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Good morning, Don.
Good morning.
I just wanted to say that woman in North Dakota, I know what she needs to dress up as because it's fitting. She should dress up as Michelle Obama.
We'll have the sleeveless dress and everything.
Yes, because what she's doing, she knows better than you what to give your kids and how to make them thin. Of course, my 17-year-old grandson says, school lunches will starve you to death.
Well, and meanwhile, she's eating steaks and lobster on our dime.
Exactly. And I'd love to see a picture of this woman that is doing this.
Well, yeah, she hasn't come out in public other than calling this radio station, so nobody knows exactly who she is. But I kind of have a feeling if she actually goes through with this, it'll come out pretty quickly. Somebody will know who she is and rat her out.
You know they will, and she's probably one of those, like our government, I'm sure she must be a liberal if she knows everything better for everyone than you do.
Well, and she uses the phrase "it takes a village" in her letter, so I think you might be onto something there.
Okay, good. Have a good day. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. I mean, she does use the phrase "it takes a village," so I mean, it could just be somebody trolling and trying to make a point. But if she goes through with this, she's going to be cleaning eggs off her windows for weeks. We'll be right back. News Talk 1270 KIML.
Out of town and still want to listen?
Stream the show at DonCarpenterRadio.com.
Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML. Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back to the program. Don't worry, I'm running out of Halloween bumper music. I don't have a whole lot more left. So, if you're just joining us, we're talking about a woman in Fargo, North Dakota. She decides that she's not going to give out candy for Halloween, but only to the obese children. She's going to give them a little nasty note to take home to their parents. And we've heard a few different opinions. I mean, we've heard from a guy that supports this because, you know, I mean, let's face it, if these kids grow up to be obese and have diabetes and all that, they are draining the system. And I understand that. I absolutely understand that. I just think Halloween is not the way to do it. I mean, if you know, I mean, that, and it's, you know, again, shaming the parents, and I hate to use the word shaming, but that's what she's trying to do anyway. Shaming the parents isn't the way to do it. If she really wants to help, she could, you know, start some kind of community activity where these kids are out playing and getting exercise. And it's kind of ironic as well because the kids are actually going to get some exercise walking around collecting all this candy. So let's go back to the audio from Fox News from last night.
Here now is me, supermodel and body image advocate.
Okay, well, we'll just this computer is going to get toilet papered in a second. Although I did hear that I might be getting my memory for the computer pretty soon. Okay, let's try this again.
News meteorologist, and Mimi Roth, founder of the National Action Against Obesity. All right, Emmy, when you see this, and I know you're a body image advocate, and I, you know, attribute to you for doing that because it's so important to send the right message to young girls right now. But what do you make of this mom? Is it her business to be handing out these letters, which many people find obscene, to little kids?
Absolutely not. She should not give out candy, close her door, and let other people walk away. She's probably going to have a lot of toilet papering taking place.
Eggs.
And oh my gosh, you know, the problem is that, you know, this is one of the reasons that kids are having such a hard time with a high rate of obese children committing suicide, bullying. This is adult bullying of children.
Yep. Janet?
Now, I don't know if I would go that far, but it is insensitive to the kids. And again, it all goes back to, is it really this woman's place to do this? You know, maybe the kids are just so sensitive these days. I mean, I've always, when I was younger, I was always really, really skinny. I never really got made fun of for being skinny, but my younger brother was a little chubby, and he got made fun of, and he grew up to be really skinny, so I guess it didn't hurt him too badly.
Absolutely. When I read this article, I went through a myriad of emotions. I was upset, I was angry, and I felt shame because I would have been that little girl at the door at 10 years old because I was obese as a child. Case in point, my mom had to take me to Weight Watchers when I was 7 or 8 years old. I was the husky girl getting the husky clothes.
Now, the woman speaking here is a Fox News meteorologist, and she's really, really small now. So I don't know what she had to do to. I mean, all you have to do for kids that are 7 and 8 years old, you get them out exercising. I mean, that's all you need to do. Is it really that hard? Kick them out of the house, make them play in the backyard for a couple hours a day. instead of sitting in front of the TV or playing video games.
So this,
high five me on that one.
And I still struggle with my weight and will continue to struggle with my weight. So my point is.
Oh, now I struggle. This woman says she struggles with her weight. She's not a pound over 105, if that.
Was that little girl, and I would have been crying had I known what she was going to put in my candy bag.
This is mind her own business. She should mind her own business. Let the parents do the work with the children.
Absolutely. Because they're going to get so much candy at home, and you know what? I'm going to ration it. They'll get a few pieces of candy at my house, and then we'll give it to them when we.
Now, let's be honest. How many parents out there actually go through the candy bag once the kids are asleep? They go through the candy bag and pick out all the good stuff for themselves. Well, let's be honest now. How many parents have actually done that? Oh, there's a Snickers bar. There's a Baby Ruth. You know, again, it's all up to the parents to. But also, isn't that part of growing up too, where you just eat so much candy that you get the little tummy ache and you're fine the next day, but you learn your lesson. You don't gorge on all the candy you get. Try to eat it all at one time. And we'll let Chad get settled in here. Chad's a skinny guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now were you always thin? Were you thin when you were a kid?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I mean, you're just like an average kid, right?
I've put on some weight, though. I mean, in my life, I've taken it off.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you're probably 4 or 5 inches taller than me and weigh a lot less. So
I've weighed probably 40 or 50 pounds more than I do now before.
Well, see, that's me right now. I'm probably 40 or 50 pounds more than what I should be, but
I wouldn't go that far.
Maybe a little bit more.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
What's your ideal weight?
160.
And you are 200?
215.
No, you're not. No way.
I swear, the last time I weighed myself, I was 215.
You don't weigh more than me.
I'm telling you, last time I weighed myself, I was 215.
Wow.
Yeah, no. I'm officially a heavyweight.
Apparently.
Yeah, I guess so. So, I mean, have you heard this story about this woman in Fargo? She's giving the little nasty notes to all the parents with the fat kids they bring over for Halloween.
No.
She's not giving them candy. She's giving them a note to take home, and it says, "Your kid's obese. You should ration the candy that they eat."
Is she giving this to every kid, or just the ones who look like they're overweight?
Just the overweight kids.
How does she know which ones are which?
Well, I mean, at Halloween. I mean,
she has all these notes pre-written.
Yeah. I mean, the story actually had a copy of the printed letter.
Okay.
And it's one of those things. I mean, if you really want to be concerned about this, why Halloween? Why not? Why not do something any other day of the year? I mean, this is the worst day of the year.
Who looks that closely at the kids anyway?
Yeah, no. I mean, they're usually lined up. You just toss the candy at them and get them out of the way. You got to try to move them through. And what if they're wearing a fat suit for a costume? What if they're dressed up as a sumo wrestler? What are you going to do then? I mean, what if it's a little skinny kid wearing a sumo wrestler outfit?
Yeah, you barely look at him. Hi. Oh, you guys look great. All right.
Yeah, get out of here. I got more candy to give out. It's just somebody being nosy. That's all it is. It's just
apparently
somebody being a busybody, and it's. I mean, we actually had a caller, and she brought up a good point. This woman's going to get egged, and she's going to get toilet papered.
Nice.
And I think that's the proper treatment of all this.
Hopefully, her pumpkins get splattered too.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. They're going to be rolled down the street and kicked, and it's going to be a messy morning tomorrow, I think, for this woman in Fargo.
Yeah.
And it's Fargo. I mean, it's not like everybody there is probably a little overweight anyway. You got to
put on a little extra pounds for the winter.
For the winter. I mean, oh boy. I used to work for a place, a trucking company based in Fargo. Oh my God, it was cold.
Oh, was it really?
Oh, I mean, well, you worked in eastern Iowa. It's even worse than that.
Northwest Iowa, but it's
northwest,
near the Dakotas.
Oh, okay. I thought you were on the other side.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, Well, I mean, I've been on both sides of Iowa, and it gets even colder up. Fargo is just miserable.
What has colder winters, Iowa or Wyoming?
Or
is Wyoming more volatile?
I think Wyoming's more volatile. I've never seen 20 below in Wyoming. I mean, in at least all my time driving across. Now, I didn't spend a whole lot of time in this part of the state. The southern part of the state, I've never seen it below zero. I mean, I know it gets below zero, but I've never seen it. I've seen minus 20s in North Dakota. I've seen it in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
I've seen it
Minnesota. I've been there for that.
Yeah, I've seen minus 10 in Iowa. I think Storm Lake, Iowa. I think.
Yeah, that was near where I was.
Yeah, I think it was Storm Lake. Yeah, it was Storm Lake. It was just probably at least 10 below. I mean, it was so cold that the diesel in my truck froze.
Oh, really?
While the truck was running.
Really?
Yeah.
In Iowa?
In Iowa.
Oh, what a disaster.
Yeah, it was rough, and that's a pretty big deal when that happens. They have to send somebody out. The guy had to take a blowtorch to the injectors to unfreeze it, and then they pour some mixture in the diesel, and it ungels it. But it was not a good situation.
What a pain.
Yeah. Well, what happened was they put additives in the fuel, and I actually got the fuel further south, and it didn't have the additives. So I got up to the north part of the state, and it was 10 below zero, and it just froze up overnight.
Huh.
And I mean, I was asleep when it froze up. I wake up, and it's zero in the cab.
Oh, was it?
And it was 10 below outside. It was.
Did you get pneumonia?
I didn't get sick, but I had a little bit of not really frostbite, but it was like tingling. My fingers and toes were tingling.
It was zero in the cab. You woke up to 0 degrees.
It was really, really bad. So what do we have going on in sports?
We'll preview tomorrow night's football game between Gillette and Evanston, and also all sorts of NBA action last night. Nuggets got beat.
Okay. Well, is that a surprise?
They were beaten by Sacramento. Well, last year they won 57 games.
Yeah. I was going to say the Nuggets are usually one of those teams that hang in there, aren't they?
Yeah, so it's kind of a surprise. I don't know. I think this could be a long year.
Well, maybe they're the team that's going to tank it.
At this point, they might as well.
Well, you never know. Okay, we'll talk to you in about an hour.
All right.
And for our caller that's on the line, if you can, stick with us, and we'll take you after the break. If not, just call back. News Talk 1270 KIML.
For the latest on the show, follow Don on Twitter @TheDonCarpenter. News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML. Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back to the program. If you're just joining us, we're doing a little Halloween talk today, and for our caller that called in the last break, if you want to call in and sound off, please feel free. We're talking about this woman in Fargo that decided that she's not going to give candy to the overweight kids. She's going to give them little nasty letters to take home to their parents. And while I understand her concern, I just think it's not the right day to do it. Okay, let's go back to the phones. News Talk 1270 KIML. You're on the air.
It's one of those people you need to tell them to stick their nose in their own business instead of everybody else's. But I was just thinking, man, the money you could make selling 50 cents an egg to these kids on the end of the block. Maybe $1 a roll for some cheap toilet paper.
Some enterprising kids should take that up. And hopefully one of the fat kids does it. So they make a couple bucks and they can go buy their own candy.
Even little skinny kids, solidarity.
Yeah. I'd imagine that's a pretty good idea.
Maybe 5 dozen eggs, 50 cents an egg.
Yeah. You know, and the sad thing about it is this woman, if she's this nosy and this much of a busybody, she'll probably be sitting around waiting for the kids to egg, and then she'll call the cops on them. That's the way these people are these days.
Well, I won't confirm nor deny an egg ever leaving my hand during the All Hallows Eve.
Well, I think the statute of limitations is up on it.
Those surgical stealth strikes, we get them every time.
Oh, yeah.
By the time they call, the response time for somebody's throwing eggs at the nosy chick's house again. I don't think the Fargo police are really going to be out looking for those criminals as hard.
Well, that is true. That is true. There't probably a little bit more important things to worry about in Fargo tonight. So, yeah.
Especially the fat kid's dad. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, just think about it. I mean, some of those cops probably have fat kids too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you got a point there. This woman's not going to have a nice night if she keeps if she insists on doing this. It's going to be a long Halloween night.
You know, most of the kids that run up there, you got your older ones. They were talking on, I think it was Fox the other day when this first came out, that the psychologist got on and said, this isn't really healthy for the kids. Because, you hear some adult call them fat and all this other stuff, They may have some weight issues. Oh, well, you either grow out of it or you grow into it.
Yeah. And, I mean, you have 364 other days to worry about the obesity problem, and most people don't worry about it. And why today? I mean, why try to ruin these kids' Halloween? It's one of the few days that kids get to have a little bit of fun.
She could have walked around all of next month in the supermarket with little notes about fat kids and hand them out before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we know we're all going to overeat.
Yeah, hand them out to the adults. I mean, I know I'll be eating way too much that day.
So it's going to be eating so you can't hardly breathe, and then when you can breathe, let's go have some pie. Yeah,
well, you take a nap and you wake up and you have leftovers.
And then you have leftovers the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. And nobody thinks about that. What's she going to do? Is she going to show up and hand out notes at her family Thanksgiving? Well, knowing this woman, she might. I mean, if she's this nosy from other people, she might be this nosy for her own family.
I hope her family has a big skin or something. Maybe they had to grow up there.
Well, probably. They're probably so sick of her right now.
I just thought, we could do. Get some thin wall PVC and make some turn potato guns into egg launching guns for these kids. So we get some range on her. Well,
I wouldn't. I wouldn't publicly promote that, but if they want to do it, I wouldn't. I wouldn't have anything against it. We'll just say that. I don't want to publicly promote potato guns with eggs, but you got to do what you got to do.
I feel like you go sell them kids eggs for 50 cents a piece. I bet you just tear it up.
Oh yeah. Hey, thanks a lot for the call. We got another one coming in. I want to get it in before the break. That's a great idea, though. Stand at the end of the block and just take a couple dozen eggs, some toilet paper rolls, and sell them. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Hey, got a couple of points. Let me ask you this. Is this any different than conservatives telling the Democrats, hey, save money, personal responsibilities? That's my first point. My second point, is it any different than what the dentist is doing by buying back the candy?
The buying back the candy thing, at least they're getting something for it, and it's, that's what dentists do. It's what their job is. So. Well,
I understand that, but see, what you're looking at is you're looking at this woman is taking it upon herself to exercise her freedom of speech to say, hey, we need to take some personal responsibility. Yeah, I understand that we're messing with kids and so forth. I am a conservative, and I think she's a little over the top, but playing devil's advocate, This is no different than me writing a letter to Congress saying, hey, be responsible with our money. We have to remind you because obviously you've forgotten it. And I think a lot of parents in this country have just forgotten the personal responsibilities, and the kids will go out, get all this candy, and they'll eat it all up.
Now, and you make a good point, and I understand what she's trying to do. I mean, the obesity is a problem, and a lot of the parents just they don't care. My only problem with it was the timing and the way that she's doing it. I mean, there are ways to handle this kind of stuff without rubbing it in the kids' faces. I mean, it's just insensitive. That's all. I mean, it's not the end of the world, and obviously she has the right to do this. It's just a little bit insensitive. That's all.
Well, I can understand that, but I mean, are any of us completely sensitive all the time to everybody's feelings?
Well, I think
we're going to offend somebody at some point.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Sometimes you have to hurt some feelings to get your point across.
Exactly.
I understand what you mean. I do appreciate the thought. I don't know. It just seems like she's just a stick in the mud. That's all. And I get the point. I do get the point. And I want to thank you for the call. We have one more we'll take before the break. News Talk 1270, you're on the air.
Their point, but I think it was on top of his head, because when I call it Congress, I elected them to do this. Nobody elected this lady to go out and send notes to the fat kids to make them feel bad. The dentist buying back candy, he's giving them something for something. He's not denigrating them. He's saying, okay, Milky Way here, 25 cents or whatever he's doing. But he's just getting it out of their hands by giving them something different. They're making a worse trade. Nobody elected this lady to be the safety Nazi. But when I put my vote down for Enzi, I put him up there to do what we want. So it's not the same thing. And I'm going in the dip.
That's a good point too. I mean, is it really this woman's place? I mean, she obviously does have the freedom of speech to do this, and it's we don't always have to be sensitive. I just think it's just, and she's not really wrong for doing this. I just think it's not fun. I mean, let's let the kids have fun for a change.
Necessary.
Exactly.
Parents' decision. All right, Mimi, now I know that often you come on shows and you say, look, we should be concerned about obesity with our kids. I don't think any of us are disagreeing with the fact that we have a fat problem in America. But where do you stand on this issue? I can hardly wait to hear.
I am so afraid I'm going to disappoint you. We, on Halloween, we worry about razor blades and poison. And
now this woman is from National Action Against Obesity.
Now really mean letters for kids. Look, the only way I can defend this woman is that her heart might be in the right place and her concern might be in the right place. But I don't think anybody would advocate handing a letter like that to a child. I don't see how it makes sense whatsoever.
Wow.
And this is the woman that her job is to fight obesity in kids. You can't get any closer to the issue than that. And maybe this woman's heart is in the right place. Some people just don't have that switch in their head where they think, maybe today isn't the appropriate day to do this. I mean, I know there are a lot of people like that. They just, something clicks and they think, well, I can make a point. And obviously she does have the right to do it. It's just, it's not fun. I mean, as I've been saying from the beginning of all this, sometimes you just have to let kids have a little bit of fun. And taking this away from, it almost reminds me of years and years ago, the movie Mommy Dearest. Joan Crawford, her story, when her kid would have Christmas and she would get all these beautiful gifts for her kid. And then she would make the kid give them away. Now, that's, it makes a good point that you have a responsibility to help those that are less fortunate. However, doing that to a little kid, it doesn't click with them. They don't register that. And it's not going to register with these kids either. And let's be honest, the parents that, are a little neglectful when it comes to keeping their kids in good shape, they're not going to listen to these letters. They're going to curse this woman out, and they're going to be all mad, and nothing will get done. So it is a little bit counterproductive as well.
You did surprise me. Okay, I'm going to let you have the first crack at this one. A Pennsylvania school district is appealing these breast cancer bracelets.
Okay, and they're moving on to a different story, and I'm tempted to talk about this story in the next hour. You know what? Maybe we will. I think we're going to do this next story because I do want to move on from the Halloween stuff, and I do have some Obamacare stuff that we're going to do in this show as well. When we come back, I think we're going to do this in the next hour. A school district in Pennsylvania is taking this case to the Supreme Court. The kids were wearing these I Heart Boobies bracelets for breast cancer awareness. Pink bracelet says I Heart Boobies. And the school banned them. People sued. The school district keeps losing, and they keep fighting it. They're going to try to take it to the Supreme Court. When we come back, I'm going to explain to you why it's not going to work. So stay tuned for all that and more. News Talk 1270 KIML.
Not insulting guests since 2013. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.